This is the. Now, this time I actually don't know. I don't know if this is the 26th or the 27th. I'm thinking it's the 27th, but I'm gonna have to look anyways, even though I was literally just looking before I started. I forgot just that quickly. So I'm gonna double check. um, where am I? Here we go. This is the 27th. This is the 27th episode of the Runnin My Mouth podcast. I am your. What is this on my mic? What's on my mic? I am your host. I'm just your host this week. I can't think of anything. I am your host, Aaron, and allow me to run my mouth a little bit. I need to adjust this just a little bit. Before I get into the episode proper, however, I can't really talk about it too much for reasons, and I hate being vague, but I would suggest you all to go to my main channel and have a look at my most recent, as of right now, uploaded video. Because that happened, so, I can't speak on it literally any more than that. Anywho, back into the actual episode itself. I don't know if I sound weird. I don't feel like I sound weird, but I have been sick like this entire last week. Like it started last Sunday. It's Sunday today. So it's been a week and I feel better, but I don't know if I still sound kind of weird because let me tell you, I was nasty sounding in the middle of this week. So I'm glad hopefully all of that has passed and hopefully the listening experience for this episode won't be sullied by my sickness, which is insane, by the way, that I got sick to begin with, because I had not, had a cold or anything like that since, I want to say, it was when I was in college, and I want to say it was, 2018. I hadn't had any kind of, icky sickness like that since then. The only times that I've been sort of sick were the times that I got the COVID vaccine, and that took me out for a day. But, aside from that, I have been healthy as a horse up until this week, which is crazy. But, it wasn't COVID. That I know for sure because, I was dramatic and I still had all of my old tests from when the postal service was giving them out the first time, and they were long since expired. So I had to hoof it down to my local Walgreens to buy a new COVID test. That thankfully came back false. I was just regular sick. I wasn't, COVID sick, thankfully. So at least I can say that in the 4 years since all of that has happened, I've managed to evade COVID somehow. I don't know how. To be fair, it is entirely possible that I could have gotten it and just not had symptoms. But yeah, I have a very, mostly formidable immune system up until this last week, which is so lame. Being sick is so lame. Being sick is overrated. Who thought that was a good idea? Anyways. Aside from all of that, last episode, I had not yet been to New Orleans to see the Amity Affliction perform Let the Ocean Take Me in Full, and now it has happened, and I can say that was a pretty good gig. I'm not gonna lie. I had a great time. I will say this, for whatever reason, I didn't know when the show actually started until I actually got to New Orleans. So I was there with under the assumption oh, I'll get there, I'll check into my hotel, I'll find a nice restaurant to eat at, spend a little time there, and then I'll head to the venue. But no. I got there and I think it was almost 5:00, and I went on to Live Nation, the little app, to see when the doors actually opened. And actually I didn't even find out there. I had to go to the House of Blues website to find out when the door time was. And I realized the doors open at 6. And mind you, I'm sitting in my hotel room. It's almost 5. So I'm dang, I definitely won't have time, to figure out where I want to eat and then eat in time for, me to make it to the line on time. So I had to, that day, let's see, I ate an apple, before I hit the road around noon, just to like hold me over. And I don't think I ended up like actually eating food that day until it was after the show was over. So like close to 11 o'clock. That was pretty crazy. I don't recommend doing that, by the way, because that could have been actually dangerous. Because let me tell you something. I hope they have it fixed by now, but the air conditioning in the House of Blues, which in the last two times that I've been there, and the previous two times previous to now that I've been there, it's been icy. It's been chilly. I've been up at the barrier, teeth chattering, okay? The air wasn't working, and it was hot. It was really hot. It wasn't as hot as it will get like this week, but last week when I was there, it was like in the upper 80s. And not only that, first of all, it's New Orleans, so it's automatically like 100% humidity. And then, of course, you have a packed venue, a bunch of people, their bodies generating heat. It got even more hot. So essentially, the whole time, I'm just like pouring sweat, just like dripping, standing still, sweating profusely. And thankfully, the venue was giving out free water. Usually they do have free water at the House of Blues though, but this time, during the actual show, they're like passing out bottles and stuff like that. So that was good that they were doing that. And they had some fans set up, some like big fans. But if you've ever been in a place, right, where the air isn't working and all you have is a fan, all you're doing is circulating hot air. It only works up to like a point. But, once you do like get in front of the fans, it felt pretty good. So, but I left that place like damp. I was just wet, like with sweat. It was not a great feeling, going out into the hot, humid New Orleans night, just like sticky, But aside from that, everything went really well. I will say this, as for the openers for the Amity Affliction, I found it really interesting that they chose to have like two hardcore bands open up for them, which if you don't really know about the Amity Affliction, their music, I would say, is settled firmly into the lighter side of metalcore. So like to have two like honest to God hardcore bands opening up for them was certainly a good choice because I liked it. But it was like, oh, this vibe is interesting, to go from that to the Amity Affliction. So they had, and dang it, I forgot to bring it out with me, but well, I'll get to that a little bit later. So they had, the first band that opened up for them was called Mugshot, which I'd never heard of them before. They were a hardcore band, and honestly, I've really grown to like hardcore music. It's not that I didn't really like it before. I just don't think I ever was exposed to it very much to know whether or not I liked it. But now that I have been, like, a lot more, I can probably say that I'm definitely a hardcore girly. Like, if I were the type, I would be throwing elbows. I would be spin kicking. I'm not, but I would. It's in my spirit. I just don't do it. So there's that. And towards the end of Mugshot's set, they throw out the guitar, not the guitar sticks. That's not a thing. They throw out the drumsticks and the guitar picks. And, I got one thrown in my direction. I felt it like hit my earring because I'm so close to this mic. I felt it hit my earring because I was wearing earrings. And I looked down and I got it finally. So yeah. Like the last two concerts that I've been in, I've caught a thing from someone performing. So I have a drumstick from Make Them Suffer, and now I have a guitar pick from Mugshot, which this time it's not just like a plain like guitar pick, it's like an actual branded guitar pick, which is really cool. So now that one's sitting next to the Devil Wears Prada guitar pick on my dresser, and I totally forgot to bring it. But if I had to explain it, paint a picture for you all, it's slightly smaller than so if you play guitar, you might know these, but the Dunlop brand, like yellow guitar picks, it's like slightly smaller than that. It's all black and it has like Mugshot written on it. And I thought that was so cool. I love catching things like that. That's really fun. So that was Mugshot. And then after them was Dying Wish, and that was my second time seeing them, because the first time that I'd seen them was, when was it? Duh, it was my birthday when I saw The Devil Wears Prada 2 years ago. And I loved them then. I love them again. Another, honest to God hardcore band opening up for the Amity Affliction, which is an interesting choice. And then after them was Currents. Wait, hold on. I think I might be forgetting somebody. Was it just the three or was it four? No, I think it was three openers. If not, oops, embarrassing that I didn't remember them. But no, it's just two. I mean, no, three openers. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so and then Currents came on. I was very disappointed to learn because before I actually went, I don't usually do this, but I wanted to see this time around because I wanted to know what songs they're gonna play aside from, Let the Ocean Take Me. So I looked up the set list, and I went on Spotify because usually people will make set list playlists on Spotify, after concerts happen and stuff like that. And I had seen one from this one account called the Setlist Guy, but it was completely inaccurate, and I knew that because it was created back in January, which is when the tour was announced, and it definitely didn't start in January. So already that was wrong, but it got my hopes up that, Currents was going to play Into Despair, which I really wanted them to. They did not. They played some of their other hits, which I did know because Currents does come up a lot in my artist radios on Spotify. So it's like, oh yeah, I know those songs. It's cool. Nice to listen to them. So yeah, I don't know who the front dude of Currents, I don't know what his name is, but he has really long hair. Especially long, black metal long hair. But it's Currents, so it's not exactly black metal. So yeah, that was interesting. And then, of course, the Amity Affliction comes on. They're from Australia, which, interestingly, is what, the second? No? Third? Hold on, I'm trying to think. Because, let me see. Make Them Suffer was also from Australia, and Void of Vision was from Australia, which I saw open for... Why am I drawing a blank? The one before that. Why am I drawing a blank? That's weird. Okay, that's not weird. I forget things all the time. But who the heck did I even see? Era! Duh! Okay. So this is actually... the Amity Affliction is, the third Australian band that I've seen, this year, which is crazy to think about. It's a lot of Australian bands. There's a lot of metal coming out of Australia, so, that's not necessarily surprising, but pretty cool. And yeah, they played, which I don't know. I don't know why I thought this would be the case, but okay, so listen, before I say what I'm about to say, I did like the Amity Affliction set. I loved it a lot. I love the album, and I love being able to hear it in full. However, I will say, I feel like bands most of the time they have a lot more going on in between songs, and I feel like the Amity Affliction for the most part just went from song to song to song with there's no kind of interstitial music or speeches in between songs or anything like that. Pittsburgh, the opening track for Let the Ocean Take Me, there's a longer version that has an intro. They didn't even play the intro. I thought they were going to do that as to kind of hype up the crowd into the song, but they didn't, which I found interesting. I don't know. I thought they would. I don't know why I thought they would. I just thought they would, I guess, but, and also it felt because Let the Ocean Take Me, I know it has to be a solid 40 minutes. It's definitely longer than 30. Let me check. Not that this is extremely pertinent, but I just want to know. It's 41 minutes long. The album itself is 41 minutes long, and I don't know why it felt like actually watching them perform it was 20 minutes. It probably was because, time flies when you're having fun and all of that, but it felt really short. But after that, they played some of their newer songs, some of the newer stuff that they have, which some of it was from, the only disappointment I've ever experienced in music, which was Everyone Loves You Once You Leave Them. Thankfully, they only played the singles, because that's the only good part of that album. Hate to say it. I don't hate to say it, actually. We were catfished by those singles. If you ever listened to Everyone Loves You Once You Leave Them, Listen, I've only listened to it literally one time, and I felt that that one time was enough because, again, the singles were like so good, but the album itself was like not great. So, that's whatever. But I do still really like the singles on that album. I still listen to them sometimes, so it was nice seeing them live. And they also played Open Letter from Chasing Ghosts, which I greatly appreciate because Chasing Ghosts was my introduction to the Amity Affliction. And honestly, that album kind of goes. It kind of goes hard. Like, I really like Chasing Ghosts. Do I like it more than I like Let the Ocean Take Me? Probably not. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think that's the case. But yeah, that was seeing the Amity Affliction. It was a lot of fun. It was very hot. But it was otherwise a lot of fun. And I gotta say, I don't know, maybe my thoughts around driving are like changing, and I don't know what's changing them, but the drive to and from New Orleans, for whatever reason, I found it kind of enjoyable. I don't know why. Because I feel like, most of the time, honestly, it is really kind of a slog. If you're going from Jackson to New Orleans, there's like really nothing. It's honestly, you keep the farther south you go, the flatter it gets. So there's just like nothing around. It's just trees. It's like a few cities. Like once you get to like Brookhaven is like kind of a city, I guess. Sorry to all the Brookhavenites. But, it's like there's something there. And then eventually you get to Macomb, and then it's like something, I guess. And then you cross the border into Louisiana finally. And again, there's really just like nothing there until you get to the Swamp Bridge, the I-55 to I-10 Swamp Bridge. Um, that's pretty fun. I like the Swamp Bridge because you get to look out the window, you see the water, you see all the houses up on stilts that definitely aren't going to survive once the next big hurricane comes. Probably sooner than you think. So, that's interesting. And I remember seeing, well, I don't remember because, I remember it happening. Hurricane Katrina happened when I was like 5. So that's not something that I remember with any certainty. And also, I was living in Alabama when it happened, so it's not like it had that much of an impact anyway. But I do remember looking at archival footage of Hurricane Katrina and seeing that I-10 Swamp Bridge, like, in pieces in the water. Like, that's if I can detour just a little bit, I feel like, I don't really have to tell people who are living in the area during that time this, but Hurricane Katrina was kind of crazy. Like, I know that's like kind of wacky to say, another Gen Z thing, I don't know, but Hurricane Katrina was kind of crazy. Because, like, if you look at some of the footage of the destruction after it happened, you had entire like casino boats just like picked up and put like way inland. Like the sheer force of such a storm to cause such destruction is like insane. And the fact of the matter is we're probably gonna get quite a few more Katrinas in our future because of the way the climate crisis is going. Climate, oh my god, climate crisis is going. But that really felt kind of like a once in a lifetime storm because if you think about like big bad hurricanes, people always talk about Katrina, and then there's always the 1900 or either 1901 hurricane in Galveston that killed like a bajillion people because people back then truly were not built for hurricanes. Let me tell you, like, they did not have the infrastructure for it, so it killed like a lot of people. A lot of people died in that Galveston hurricane. And I'm trying to think of, Harvey? When was Harvey? I think that's the one that hit Texas. And then there was Sandy that hit, like, New York, weirdly. I feel like there have been a lot of once-in-a-lifetime storms in my lifetime to the point where these aren't really once-in-a-lifetime anymore. There are several in a lifetime, so perhaps we should give them a new name. What we would call them, I don't know, aside from once-in-a-lifetime. I don't think devastating really covers the severity of it, but, just an observation I had. Just something weird, just something a little weird. Anyways, yeah, had a good time in New Orleans. It was really hot. My hotel elevator did not work. Thankfully, they had another elevator, so it wasn't that bad. But yeah, I like New Orleans. I like going down there. I wish I could spend, like an actual meaningful amount of time there, which I will be soon. So that will be fun. I get to talk all about that. I don't know, let me see. I think by the time I record the next podcast episode, then we will hear, or you rather, will hear all about my New Orleans trip. But until then, there's nothing to hear about. So let me consult the list. So there has been. Well, let me see. Yeah, I'll change up the order a little bit. So, yes, speaking of traveling, going places I've never been before. Yesterday, I went to Vicksburg, which, it's like, what's in Vicksburg? And to that, I would mostly agree with you. But in this case, what was in Vicksburg was a show. Now, normally, when it comes to like local music, I do typically just stick to Jackson because, anywhere that I go is like a couple minutes drive away. There's really nothing that's going to be that far. I do know that there's a lot going on. Well, I wouldn't say a lot. There's a decent amount going on. There's something going on in Starkville. And I would say there is also a decent amount going on in Hattiesburg, probably more in Hattiesburg than in Starkville. But there's also a great deal of bands in Vicksburg. There's like a whole entire Vicksburg scene that I feel like should get some attention and some love. And so I went to Vicksburg yesterday eve to show one of those Vicksburg bands some love, and that's Death Throes from a Star. I've talked about Death Throes on this podcast, I want to say a couple of times now. Definitely a couple of times. Maybe more than a couple of times. I don't know. But they were having an EP release party, except it wasn't really like a party. It was more just like a show. It was an EP release show. And they were supported by, let's see, two other Vicksburg bands, The Downhill and Chief City, which I can't remember if I've seen Chief City before. I don't think I have. I know they've come to Jackson before, but in the times that they have, I don't think I've seen them. So that might have been my first time seeing them. The Downhill, I didn't really get to see all that much, but I did like Chief City. I don't know. It was like I don't know how to explain it. I've mentioned this before. I think I've literally said the spiel before, but I do kind of have a hard time, like, describing music in a weird way. I feel like, I don't know why, I do have a hard time describing music, so I don't really know how to describe Chief City other than it's very slow, very low tempo, kind of maybe droning. I don't know if droning would be the right word to say, but it's very, I don't know, man. I genuinely don't know. Let me see if I can, I'm not going to play any of it, but I do want to know if they are streaming anywhere. Let's see, Chief City Band. Okay, they do have a Bandcamp, at the very least. Let's see. And they have, they have a demo, and then they have something self-titled. This is an album, perhaps? It looks like an EP. It's 5 tracks. Well, actually, it might be like album length. Well, no, it's 24 minutes. I would say it's an EP. 5 tracks, 24 minutes. If you want to listen to it, then you can. I don't know. But hold on. No. We're on Bandcamp. They might have, let me see. There's an about. Yeah, never mind. Sometimes I feel like if I can't figure out how to describe a band, I can just go to their Bandcamp and then I will find all their little genre signifiers, but for whatever reason, I can't here. It's absent. Is there anything? Are there tags? How am I supposed to describe this? Let's see. Engineered. No. Okay. Okay, so there are tags. I can describe them. So doom, okay, I was in the mindset of doom metal. I don't know why I just didn't say that, but they definitely are doom metal, sludge metal, sort of stoner metal, and those are their tags. So if that means anything to you, that's Chief City. And they're great. I like them. I like seeing them perform. I thought they were dope. And if you're ever anywhere where they're performing, you should definitely see them. Who else? It was the Downhill Chief City. Oh, and Kicking, who is from Jackson. I feel like every time I look around, every time I look up, Kicking is performing somewhere, like, soon. I don't know if this is even the case. I don't know. I have seen them quite a few times, and I think it's been spread out a little bit, but Kicking definitely performs quite a lot. Mostly in Jackson, but, like last night, they were in Vicksburg. And honestly, I like Kicking a lot. I've said this before because I've mentioned them before, but I do like them a lot. However, one of these days, I just have to sit down and, like, actually listen to their music to, like, get, like, an idea for it in my mind, I guess. I don't know why I haven't done that yet. There's literally no reason. I could just do it. I just don't. I don't know. Which is weird because I really like the music. So one of these days, I'm just going to have to sit down, open up Kicking on Spotify, and just, like, listen. Just, like, do that. How hard can that be? Not very hard. It's a task that I haven't done yet, though. However, once I do end up doing that, I have a feeling I would like them a lot. So yeah, that's Kicking. And, of course, rounding out the show was Death Throes from a Star. I'm not gonna lie, they really stepped it up. Like, everybody else needs to get with the program, okay? As far as, like, performing. Now, the things that they did, it wasn't exactly, like, revolutionary, but I feel like it was subtle. Okay, so mainly what I'm talking about is that during Death Row set, and also, I also want to acknowledge that, yes, this isn't super feasible for, like, every band to do. So, like, I get that. But if you do it, it really does, like, heighten it by a whole lot. So, pretty much every gig that I've gone to has had some kind of light set up, some kind of, funky LEDs going that really set the mood, which is great. But what Death Rows from a Star had is that they had a projector and they had visuals. They had visuals for each song. And I was like, it's really, again, subtle, like a very subtle, minimal thing to do, but it really enhanced the experience. Like, especially for Death Throes, because all their music is instrumental, like, that really added to it. And I was like, we got visuals, okay. And they seem really intentional too. Like, they even synced up with the songs. So, and not only that, but they had visuals and they had interstitial music. And I was like, oh my goodness, like, they did that. Like, okay, I'm paying attention. I was already paying attention, but now I'm paying attention even more. So, like, I feel if you really want to, like, step it up as, like, a local band, anywhere, it doesn't have to be in Jackson. You could be anywhere. You could be in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I don't even know if I said that right. You could be in the middle of nowhere. If you have visuals in your show like that, beyond, like, lights and stuff, which even there are some bigger bands that just, like, don't have visuals. However, that's kind of down to the venue. I will say, having, whether or not you have whether or not you have visuals is very venue specific, because not all venues are really, set up for that kind of thing. So that's, like, understandable. But I feel like if you can, just have, like, some really subtle visuals, like, that really enhances the experience, I think, in my opinion. And I really like that they did that. And so, is it self-titled? I believe this is self-titled. This is self-titled. So, I'm holding a thing that I have. It's a tape. I bought a tape. I was not given this tape this time around. I actually purchased it for a very reasonable price, which I think, this is moving around a lot. I think I'm going to get into tape collecting. Like, again, I don't have any way to play any of these tapes. I don't have any way to play any of these vinyls. It doesn't matter. But I don't know. I really like the album art for the EP, first of all. And so, this is it. I'll just show it to you. Is that going to focus? I can't tell if it's focusing or not. Get in front of my face. Will that do it? Okay, there's glare. Is that going to do it? Do I have to do the beauty influencer hand behind it thing? I don't think it's going to focus. Either way, It is, I'm not really sure what this is. It looks like one of those garden statues that are made out of like concrete, not quite like, marble or anything like that, but like, the little angels that people put out in their yards or in their gardens and stuff, and they're like kind of made out of that like rough concrete material. That's what that looks like. And it's really nice. I like the colors. It's blue, kind of tealy. I'm gonna describe it. Well, I was already in the middle of describing it, but I will continue to describe it for those only listening to the audio version, which I have to say, again, you already know what I'm going to say. If you're only listening to the audio version, you're only getting half the story. But I will continue to describe it. So it is a cassette tape. I don't know if these kinds of tapes have a specific name. It's not an 8-track tape, because it's whatever came after 8-track tapes, before CDs happened. So it's like a standard like little tape, right? I don't know the dimensions of it. I don't have a ruler or anything near me it's a tape. You know what a tape is. If you don't know what a tape is, Google it. Like you can Google it. Just do that. It's in a nice little kind of, what do you call this? Package, the case. It's in a nice little case with the album art, which again looks like one of those garden statues that people have that's made out of that like rough concrete thing. On the spine, is this called the spine? I don't know. It says Death Rose from a Star. It's self-titled. And there's actually an A side and a B side to this. So on the A side is Glaciers, Ascension, and Star Turn. And on the B side is Lost Under the Light of the Moon and Celestial Poisons, which I think might be, I don't know, if I had to guess. No, I think Celestial Poisons is my favorite track if I had to like pick one. What else was I gonna say? I feel like I forgot to mention something. Oh, dang. Ooh, that scared me. I fumbled it for a second there. I'm mentioning this because the EP itself has actually been out for a couple of weeks. It's been out on Bandcamp for like, I think maybe at the beginning of the month is when it actually came out. But it actually made it to other streaming services. Was it last week? Like last Thursday is when it actually made it to streaming services, which is when I actually started listening to it. I don't really use Bandcamp, if it hasn't become apparent by now. I probably should. I would think that Bandcamp, that's the platform that has the greatest revenue share. But given that I do only listen on the evil Spotify, I buy merch. So I bought this tape and I bought a shirt, which is over there. I'll show it later. And I also got a sticker, but that was free, which I will also show later. But I'm describing the tape. So we open up the little case here, and the cassette itself is blue. This is so cool. I don't know. It's literally just a blue tape. I know you can make tapes in like all colors, but I really like the color of this one. Like that's what kind of stuck out to me when I saw it. Because I wasn't really intending on buying a tape. I was definitely gonna get a shirt, but I think I did know that they had tapes, but I wasn't sure if I was gonna buy one. But this is really pretty. This like tape, and so you can see there's the A side, there's the B side. I forgot to mention this when I was describing my Measureless Aeons tape, but there is like actual like text and stuff on the inside here, which is mainly just the credits. There's a special thanks. I can't tell if there's anything on the other side here. There isn't. And what else? On like a kind of blurry band photo that you can kind of not see. So yeah, that's the tape. Ooh, it's going up on the shelf right next to my Measureless Aeons tape. I'm gonna have to think of a better, I don't know, display scheme for my tapes, because right now they're just like on a shelf, but I want like a dedicated place for them, and I'm not really sure where that's gonna be. But for now, I mean, they take up such little space that I'm not really gonna have to figure this out for a while, but I'm gonna have to find a cute little way to display my tapes. Honestly, oh, what would be a really good idea? So they have those like teeny tiny like skinny shelves that you're supposed to put like picture frames in. I think those would be really good to display tapes. If you're into tapes and you want to display them, I think one of those like really skinny shelves would be really good for that. And I'm looking at this wall over here because that would be like the perfect place for them. Or honestly, maybe in my bedroom. I feel like I need more stuff in my bedroom. But anyways, moving on. More merch. I'm kind of upset because this was sitting at the bottom of my purse and therefore it got kind of warped. But I got another sticker. It's a Death Throes from a Star sticker. You can't see it at all. There's like a, I guess kind of like an exploding star right here, and then there's the text. It reminds me, you know what it reminds me of? I don't know if Final Fantasy VII is what I'm thinking about. Oh man, hold on. I'm gonna have to look this up because I think it is Final Fantasy VII. The kind of, I don't know, like exploding planet looking thing. Let me see. Hold on. I need to know. Final Fantasy. Yeah. Okay, well, it doesn't really look like it that much, but yeah, the kind of the thing in the logo for Final Fantasy VII, that's what it puts you in the mind of, since I am describing it for the people who are only getting half the story, and then there's like some text. They had another sticker that was circular that was like the album art, and then they had another one that I can't remember what it was just the band's name, and it was like a red sticker. I legitimately don't know what I'm going to do with these stickers. So I have 3 so far. I have a Smokies sticker. I have this Death Throes one, and I have one. Ooh, I knew this day would come when I would forget the band, but I have this one from a band that came through like months ago. What were they called? The Human Fund. It's from a punk band called The Human Fund, and they have a song. I don't have the sticker with me because it's sitting on my desk at work, but they have a song called Everyone is a Poser Except for Larry the Cucumber, which, yes, is that Larry the Cucumber, and it's literally like HXCLC with like Larry the Cucumber like in the middle of a pit. It's great. I love that. That's probably my favorite bit of band merch that I have, and I love it so much. I put it on my desk at work. It's not sticking to anything, so I don't know if I'm ever gonna have anything to like stick these to. I don't want to put them on my car. I'll say that much. I don't want to put them on my car. I know people put stickers on like their MacBooks, but I don't have one of those, so I can't exactly do that. And also I feel like that's kind of a waste because I'm not gonna lie, MacBooks, their shelf life, not that high. And I feel like these stickers, they could be like a work of art. I don't want to have to get rid of them when I get rid of my MacBook that I don't have. So I'm going to have to think of, corkboard. I could get a corkboard and I can maybe not stick them to the corkboard. I don't want to like stick them to anything. I think what I'm going to do, and this is what I did when I was in college and I had all of my art prints on a corkboard. I didn't pin them, but what I did is I attached them to paper clips, so like regular paper clips, and I looped the push pin through the paper clip so that I'm not damaging the art itself. But also, you can buy push pins that have the clips on there already. I didn't feel like spending the money on that. And I think I still have all of my cork pads. I think that's what I'm going to start doing. Yes, I've been trying to think of ways to like spruce up my apartment, considering I am committed to spending another year here. I haven't signed the lease yet. They haven't given me my new lease yet. But I am, I'm doing another year here. It's mostly out of convenience. I do like living here, but I feel like it would be more trouble to move than it would to stay. Like far more trouble to move than it would be to stay. So I'm staying. But I think that's something that I can do, especially, again, in my bedroom where my walls are barren. I can put my stickers on little cork pads. Oh my gosh, it's a great idea. I think I might do that today. I already have too much like I'm trying to do today, so probably not. But yeah, that'll be a nice way to like collect stickers. So it's like, it's still merch. It's not really a shirt. And it's not really like, I don't know, a vinyl or a CD or a tape or anything. But it's still something, That's a great idea. I love my brain. My mind is so powerful. And, of course, I got a shirt. It is blue. I'm finally starting to get, like, not black like band shirts. The vast majority of the band shirts that I own are black, but some of them aren't. So I like that I'm branching out a little bit. I don't know if you could see it, but yeah, that's the album art and then the title down the side. And I really like the design of it, so I purchased it. And I don't know if they're selling them. I know Bandcamp has like a section for merch. I don't know if they're selling them on Bandcamp. You can look. I can also look. I shall look. But they have two different kinds of shirts. They have that one that I just showed you, which is just like a regular shirt. And then they have like a baseball style shirt. Let me see. No, they do not have merch on their Bandcamp. So if you want something from them, you're just going to have to go to Vicksburg, I guess. I don't know. That's the only... Or actually, hold on. No, they're going to be at Couchfest, which I will not be at because I'm going out of town. They're going to be at Couchfest next week, and I am kind of sad that I'm missing them. And a bunch of other really great bands that are going to be there. And also, it just seems like it's like an honest-to-God music festival. Like here, in Jackson. Like, that's pretty cool, I have to say. I won't be there this year, though. I remember finding out about it, like, last year, like, after the fact, and being upset about it. And now I'm fully about to not be here when it's happening again. So I guess I gotta wait till next year. Hopefully there is one next year. Which I don't see why there wouldn't be one next year. I mean, it's the third year. And honestly, it seems like there's a lot of hype surrounding this one. Probably going to be a lot of bands to come out. Well, not bands, but a lot of people to come out to see the bands. I would hope it would happen next year. Otherwise, I truly missed the mark by not going this year. Oopsie. So let's see. Oh, so that kind of goes into my next topic, which is new music, which the music that I'm about to talk about isn't actually new. It's been out for a while. First and foremostly, again, Death Throes from a Star. Their EP is their self-titled EP is on the streaming services. So if you want to look them up, there it is. And actually, I've found out, I didn't know this before, which I mean, I guess it makes sense, but the way that musicians distribute their music is different from Bandcamp to like the other streaming services. So I think most, and I could be wrong because again, I know really very little about this, but most use something called DistroKid, which I think is kind of like, it's like what I use to distribute this podcast to like Apple and, well, not Google Play anymore because she's dead, but YouTube Music, and I guess whatever other platforms are out there. It automatically goes up to Spotify because I'm using Spotify to do this. So yeah, I guess that's why it took a little while from this being on Bandcamp to this being on other streaming services. But this definite recommendation, listen to it. It's a great album. It really is. It really is a great album. If you like instrumental music, if you like shoegaze, if you like, I think there might be the genre in here. I don't know. No, it doesn't. Never mind. I was lying. I don't even know. Whatever. If you like shoegaze, then you might like Death Throes from a Star. However, listen, I'm still trying to grasp the concept of shoegaze because, again, that word kind of doesn't mean anything to me as it comes to, like, describing a genre. Because I feel like, with all of the permutations of metal there are and the prefixes, you can kind of glean what that means by the words that are used. But shoegaze, the only thing, nothing. I don't know. Anyways, I'm gonna have to do a lot more research into the genre of shoegaze so I can actually get a grip on it because I still can't. But anyways, moving on. Another band that I talk about incessantly on this here podcast, my uncles in Crypt Eater. They, again, I'm pretty sure literally last episode I talked about them putting out new music, or maybe the one before that, but they do have an EP out. It's called The Weight of Hatred, and I think at the time I said I hadn't listened to it yet, so I couldn't even talk about it. But I'm so close up to this mic. I'm popping it so badly. I'm so sorry to the people listening, but I have finally listened to The Weight of Hatred. I finally rectified my mistake. And let me tell you, these uncles do not miss. They do not miss. They do not miss. Oh my god. So, Crypt Eater for a while has had like a demo, I think, out and like some songs here and there out. But now they have like a proper like EP out and it is so good. Like, first of all, these are songs that I've just heard them perform many times now at this point. So yes, of course I'm going to like it, but the mix on this is so good. Like I think perfectly encapsulate the sort of the feeling of seeing them live. Of course, it's going to hit a little bit harder when it's live, but I feel like it's like the perfect amount of just like punchy, you know? It's that kind of like hardcore punk where it really hits you. It really hits you in the extremities, Not the extremities, cuz those are your arms and legs. What's this? Your midsection? That doesn't sound right. It really hits you in the gut, I think. And I think the mix does a really good job of doing that. Like, I don't know who mixed and mastered this, but whoever you did, flowers to you. Flowers to you, because you did a great job and it sounds amazing. I have to say, I have been listening to it a lot. I do have one. I have one slight gripe about the mix, and it's that one of the songs is literally painful. It's Death Hiss. I was listening to it in the car on the way to work one morning, and the song came up, and it blasted my left ear. Like, I don't know what it was, but it's like, I know there's a name for this, and I don't know the name for it, but when you have a guitar, you do the thing to make it do the really high pitched like whine. I feel like I described that well enough. In that song, it's mixed very painfully. Let me say that. But aside from that, the mix is really good, I have to say, and it sounds great. And shout out to whoever mixed it. But I will say, I think my favorite song on it, on The Weight of Hatred, if I had to pick one, it's a tie between the first and the second track. Enter the Crypt and Red Blinders. I feel like it's just so, I don't know, quintessentially Crypt Eater that it's just like, it's great. I love it. And I think they're going to be performing soonish. And I can't wait to see them again. I can't wait to see. I'm wondering if I should like stop calling them my uncles, because they're very obviously not my uncles, but I don't know. I think it might be fine. It's probably fine. I don't know. But I can't wait to see my uncles again. What can I say? Their album, great. Fantastic. Love it. Love them. Anyway, stream The Weight of Hatred, stream Death Throes from a Star, and also wait, oh my goodness, I forgot to write this down. Okay, I'm gonna come back to this. I can't believe I forgot to write this down on my list. Duh, oh my god. I can't believe I forgot that. OMG. Okay, we're gonna get to it. It is music related. We're gonna get to it, but before I get to it, I hope I don't forget, because Lord knows I'd be forgetting. But Smokies. My favorite children, Smokies. Which, okay, they're not children anymore. Like, they're fully adults in the eyes of the law, but my favorite little children, Smokies, they put out a new song called Room. Hold on, it's like a couple of numbers. I want to say it's 271, but I know it's not 271. Or 237. Hold up. 237. I was kind of right. It's called Room 237, and the last time that I saw them, which was a couple weeks ago, I believe they performed it there, and it's a great little song. I don't know how to describe Smokies. They're kind of like they're garage rock. They're definitely garage rock. Sort of. Oh, I remember. The last time that I spoke about them on this podcast, I refrained from invoking the name Nirvana, but it almost puts you in the mind of that, almost. But they're in that kind of grungy garage rock kind of vibe. That's really nice, honestly. I like their music a lot. Insanely talented group of kids. Like, I truly think that they will put Jackson on the map. And, I was talking about this with some coworkers, and I don't know if this is going to sound like shady or anything like that, but there is another Wonder Kid Jacksonian making music, but I don't know, the vibes there are a little bit different. I will say that much. So, to my tremendous surprise, there is a very young kid out there who has found a lot of success musically, who is from Jackson. His name is Prentice, and I mean, you probably know who that is, or maybe you don't. I don't know. I never heard the name Prentice before. I had seen a New York Times article about him, I want to say 2 years ago when he was about 15. So there's this website called Long Reads where basically what they do is they not republish, they collect, I guess, long form journalism, and I don't know, it's like a list of long form journalistic articles. A lot of it's personal essays, a lot of it's journalism type stuff. But when I was working at my terrible, awful, no good, very bad last job, I had a lot of downtime. So what I would do is I would just read those long articles. I remember one day I saw this one, and I remember the title of it. It's called Prentice is Feeling Deeply or something like that. And I was like, oh, whatever, new article. I'll click on it. And I saw it said, Prentice, 15, from Jackson, Mississippi. And I was like, what? Huh? Who is this kid from Jackson getting this New York Times article written about him? And, I know this is said pejoratively a lot, but at the time, I was under the impression that this kid must be an industry plant because, number one, I'd never heard of them. Surely if, this kid is so young and so talented and is getting articles written about him in GQ and the New York Times, there would be a lot more local press, a lot more than there was. And I don't know, I just couldn't find any at the time. I believe he's been interviewed by at least one local news station here. I don't know which one is one of them. And so, I mean, there's that. But this kid has a song with Skrillex. This kid has performed at, I believe it was Lollapalooza. This kid has done a lot of big things to be so unknown, and I feel I don't know, I have listened to a song just to get a feeling of what his music is like, which I probably should have listened to more because I was about to describe it and I just realized that I couldn't. But I don't know, he just came out of nowhere. And listen, to be completely fair, I am mostly in the metal, the hardcore, the punk spaces here. Prentice is very much not that. So it's not that surprising that I've never heard of this kid. And also, I have only been in these spaces for literally less than a year. So again, not that surprising. But to have a very young musical artist be so apparently popular and be able to get so far, but also be so unknown here, that felt odd to me. But I do know now, for sure, not industry plant, just kind of, one of those right place, right time type of moments where he put out a song or something somewhere, like Instagram or something, and a more prominent musical artist saw it, and now he's been posted by Justin Bieber, and again has a song with Skrillex. Oh my god, can I just say, as someone who used to be way into dubstep, the fact that this kid has a song with Skrillex is insane. Which I know, Sonny, he's kind of a weirdo these days, but still, that can't be understated. It's Skrillex. Oh my god, and it's not a remix. It's a song. So whoa, you know? Like that feels like a lot, but I don't know. I just haven't heard anything about this kid. So if you are a number one Prentice stan, please tell me all about him. Like, where does he perform at around here? Does he perform around here? Like I remember I went on his Instagram like a couple of weeks ago and I saw that some months ago, or maybe last year, it was sometime recently, but not that recent, he had performed around here at one of the local venues, but again, I completely passed me by, So I don't know. I find that just like interesting because I was saying that I think Smokies is going to be able to put Jackson on the map, but it appears that Prentice is already putting Jackson on the map, but Jackson doesn't even know about it. So it's like, hey, it could very well just be me. I could be Johnny Come Lately to the Prentice hype. He could have an entire humongous fan base here. I don't know. Okay? Like, he's just putting that out there. Anywho, moving past that, Smokey's new song, it's really good. Go listen to it. It's called Room. Hold on, I forgot the number just that fast. What is it called? It's called Room 237. And it is on the streaming services, and you can listen to it, and it's good. And also, Smokies is again one of those bands that is performing quite a bit, not just here, but like elsewhere in the state. And I think they might even have some upcoming gigs in like either Memphis or New Orleans, somewhere else kind of regional. So again, very talented kids, also very nice. They're nice kids. They're good kids. And yeah, support those children because they truly deserve it. And that's not a sneak diss, by the way. Prentice probably deserves it too, but he's already getting it. Okay? So, you know what? Let me stop. Let me stop while I'm ahead because this is not getting anywhere good. Anyways, I recently, very serendipitously, found out about another musical artist that really scratched an itch I didn't know I was missing. So, something about the local music scene here in Jackson is that, again, it is, I would say, very primarily kind of, well, okay, the acts that I have been paying attention to are very in the metal scene, very hardcore punk, like hardcore metal, hardcore punk, all of those like mixed together in a big pot. That's what I think the Jackson heavier music scene is comprised of. There are quite a bit of like garage rock type of bands that I have seen that I do quite enjoy, including Smokies and bands like Surf Wax, those kinds of bands. But there is a practically brand new, hot off the presses, new kid on the block, and I posted about it on my Instagram stories at Jackson Underground, JXN Underground, if you're interested. But one day I was minding my business, as I am wont to do, and I get a new follower notification and a DM request from this. It's not a band. I would say it's an artist because it's just one guy. Called Knife Palms, and he's like, "Oh, I'm glad I found this account. I'm definitely gonna pay attention to it." And I will say this: anytime somebody follows me, not even just on Instagram, I do this on Twitter too. I will look at your profile if you follow me somewhere, except for YouTube, because it's a little bit harder to find out who subscribes to you on YouTube. And also, just a lot less people use YouTube in that way. But any other social media platform, if you follow me, I am looking at your account. And a lot of the times, these accounts are private, so there's not much to look at anyways. But I looked at, the account for Knife Palms, which was, a musical artist. If a musician follows me, I'm gonna look at what they got. I'm gonna look at what they have to offer. So I saw that he had a snippet of a song on his profile, and I was like, oh, this is giving. This is actually I'm living. Like, I love this. So a little fun fact about me is that when I was like kind of, let's see, Middle, early high school, I wasn't into like super heavy music. The music that I liked a lot was like A Day to Remember, like the more poppier A Day to Remember tracks. Fallout Boy definitely, Panic at the Disco before they got into their flop era. So pre Death of a Bachelor, which Death of a Bachelor, good album. Anything after that, we don't talk about her. Anything before that, perfectly fine. Um, what else? I was really into bands like 4 Year Strong, Chunk No Captain Chunk, All Time Low. Those kinds of more pop punky type of bands. Like I ate those for breakfast. And so here's Knife Palms. I'm listening to the snippet of the song and it sounds exactly like those bands from back in the day that I used to listen to, but it's like new. It's like made recently. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is great. And I was like, you know, I DM'd him back, like, thank you for saying nice things about me. And can I, post your little song snippet to my stories? And I ended up doing that. And so he has an EP out that came out very recently. I'm trying to find it. Where is it at? Hold on. Because it's called So They Say. So I'm just yelling, and I can hear it in my ear that I'm just yelling. So it's called So They Say. It's an EP by Knife Palms. It is, I think, 1, 2, 3. It's 4 tracks and only about 12 minutes. It's very short. But if you were really into, I'll say, 2000s, like 2005 to 2010 era, like pop punk, you will eat this up. You will gobble this to death, okay? Like, you will consume, right? And so, it sounds, honestly, it put me in the mind of like early 4 Year Strong a little bit, aside from there's only one vocalist versus like two or three. There's not 3 vocalists in 4 Year Strong. It's like two. But it kind of feels like that. And that was like really nostalgic to me because, back in the day before, Apple ruined everything, they had their like iTunes radio, which for me was a great way to discover like new music. And in that radio, I would usually always listen to either the Fall Out Boy radio or the Day to Remember radio, which those were like my gateway drugs into listening to heavier music. And in that Fall Out Boy radio, I got a lot of like, the popular A Day to Remember tracks, the earlier 4 Year Strong tracks, like Chunk No Captain Chunk, like that kind of stuff. And I listened to that, a lot when I was in high school. And I don't know, it just kind of like transported me back to that time, but like in a good way. It's like very nostalgic sounding music for me, and I appreciate that a lot. And it's just one guy doing the vocals and all the instrumentals for it. It's called Knife Palms. I don't know how many times I can say that. And I really appreciate the music. Like it really scratched an itch for me. Like got I don't know. Again, it was very nostalgic. I got like transported back in time to, Saturdays when I was in high school. I'll say like the ninth and the 10th grade. And I would just spend my whole Saturday like playing The Sims and listening to the iTunes radio. Like that's the feeling that it put me in. That's a great, it's a great feeling to have, that kind of nostalgic feeling. Not even like a sad nostalgia. It was like a happy nostalgia that I felt listening to the Knife Palms EP, So They Say. So if you're into that kind of music, I will say So They Say. Mwah, banger. Love it. It's definitely entering the rotation. And I don't, considering that he is literally a one-man band, I forgot to mention, he's from Clinton, so sort of local. But you really don't see a whole lot of bands coming out of Clinton that much. I mean, there might be some there, but, and again, very new. He only had maybe like 18 followers when he DM'd me, and I hope a lot more people can see his music because it's really good. It's genuinely so good. Like, I liked it a lot when I listened to it. I was like, oh my goodness, like this is, again, it's definitely entering the rotation. So There you go. That's Knife Palms. And I'm very happy, that he reached out to me, just to say that he's glad he found my blog and my Instagram. So, shout out to you, Mr. Knife Palms. I forgot his name. I think it's Mike, something like that. But, like I was saying, there's probably a very low chance that we will ever see him performing live because, again, he's a one-man band. Unless he gets, like, what was it? It's like the drum on the back and the harmonica, that kind of setup, which I don't think so, but maybe. You never know. That would certainly be impressive. But I don't think, I think this is just a recording project, probably. But, gosh, like that a lot. I don't know, I like that a lot. I want to talk about it. Anywho, what else? Is there any other new music I'm missing? I feel like there's a lot of, like, local bands that are, like, releasing new music, and for whatever reason, I'm just, like, not paying attention, and I feel like I should pay more attention, especially considering what I do now, which, I don't know, maybe I'm paying the exact right amount of attention. There's only so much attention that I can pay. I have a finite amount of attention to pay, and the amount that I'm paying is what I can pay. What, am I making sense? Who knows? I don't know. Anyway, I was debating kind of talking about this, but I feel like I'll briefly touch on it. So, I recognize that there are, the majority of the people that follow me on this here podcast now, don't know me from my YouTube days, which it's weird that I'm referring to them as my YouTube days because I haven't quit. Like, I haven't quit or anything. I've just dramatically slowed down. So, fact of the matter is I had a lot more time to do it when I was unemployed. And so that was when I was doing it the most. And I'm no longer unemployed. So it's just the way she goes. That's all I can say about it. But back in my unemployment days, back in the far off land of 2020, I was really into a lot of YouTube drama, which, to be fair, I still am into a lot of YouTube drama. I just don't speak on it because, literally don't have the time. So, I don't know why I'm fidgeting things on my desk. Leave that there. So, back in the Dizzy, the hot goss of the time was this one fake influencer named Lily Jean Truman, which saying her name is like saying Beetlejuice 3 times because she will show up to haunt you, and trust me, I got the brunt of that. I didn't get it as bad as some people got it, but I still got it, and let me tell you, that was a time. That was a time, but I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit. Basically, there's this person, a girl, her name is Lily Jean Truman, she lives in New York, and she's like a sort of wannabe beauty influencer. I haven't really been keeping up with her because I don't have any reason to, because again, saying that girl's name is like saying Beetlejuice 3 times, like you don't wanna, okay? So, but apparently she's been up to her old antics, like 4 years later, 4 years after she got caught, faking followers and doing all sorts of stuff that would gain you the ire of the internet back then, and probably still does now. But her thing is that not only would she, fake engagement, she would fake brand deals to the point where she would get real brand deals. She would fake being in magazines, which technically, for the most part, I will say the ones that she faked, they aren't exactly fake. They're just like vanity publications where you pay a certain amount of money to get yourself into a magazine. So technically they're not fake in that they actually exist, but the way that you get into them is through less than scrupulous means. I'll say that much. And so, anytime anyone would talk about this, and I think it's really her mom that's like steering the ship, her mom, Lore, that is the main antagonist, especially from what I experienced back 4 years ago, back in 2020. They would go hard after people who were saying that, Lily Jean faked her entire basically influencer career, her entire modeling career, her entire beauty influencer career. And most of the time it would be with, fake, not really fake. They're not fake because they're real, but they're fraudulent, let me say. Copyright takedown notices. I got my video taken down for, I think it was a month, thanks to a fraudulent copyright takedown notice that I had contested. But, considering that if they were to go any further in it, they would have to basically admit to perjury because they said that I violated their copyrights when I did not in any way, shape, or form. And eventually YouTube realized this, and because they didn't go any further, the way that YouTube's copyright claim system works is that a copyright holder will strike a video that uses, or that they say, because most of the time it really isn't, that they say uses their copyrighted material. And basically what you can do as the YouTuber is you can contest it. That's not the word though. You can counterclaim it, I think. That's like the term that's used. And basically by doing that, what you would end up having to do is to, because I mean at this point this is a legal thing that you're undertaking. So what you would have to do is by, counterclaiming a copyright strike, you would have to relinquish your personal information to, the person who struck your video. The thing about that is that when you would do that, Lily and Laura love to dox people. So basically the only options you had, if Lily Jean and Laura like copyright strike your video, you could either let it just die, right? Just like let it go, let your video be taken down, or you can give these whack jobs your personal information so that they can later dox you. And like you might get your video back, but now your address is just on the internet. And so that I did not want to do. Thankfully, I had access to a PO box at the time, so I didn't really have to give them all of my info. And also because at that time, that was like the height of them acting a fool. So I had the support of quite a few people who gave me pointers on what to do, and kind of helped me out with that situation. Eventually, my video comes back up. Not long after that, they tried to put a privacy violation notice on it, which they couldn't do because in the video, like, I knew what they were doing. I knew what they were up to. I didn't put any pictures or video of this little girl in my video because I didn't want to give them the chance to take it down. However, they ended up copyright striking the thumbnail because the thumbnail that I used was like a picture of her eyes, and according to them, that was enough. And apparently YouTube was like, yeah, you're right, that is enough. And so my video was down for like a month. But it's been up, in the years since then. Anyway, all that comes back to, I was far from the only person talking about these two. I think the most prominent YouTuber at the time who was talking about them was a YouTuber called Primink, who now uploads very sporadically. But I'm talking about this now because, apparently, you would have thought that after all of that went down in 2020, those two would try to lay as low as possible. But no, they've been like more or less e-stalking Primink like this entire time, like for the last like 4 years, literally. It's been going on for that long. And so I saw his video on it because I totally forgot I was still subscribed to him because, again, like, it's been so long since he's uploaded. Like, I haven't seen anything by him. At first, I thought it was a re-upload of the original video, but then I looked a little bit closer and I was like, oh, wait, no, this is new. And I was like, these two are still at it? Like, what is going on? What are y'all doing? What are you up to? Like, what? Why are we still doing this? All of this originally went down in, like, 2019, 2020, like they started up all this stuff like pre-pandemic. Like, we are a lifetime away from all of that and you guys are still at it. Like, this is crazy. Like, that's wild and wacky. And so out of curiosity, I went through, I haven't gotten any more like copyright takedown notices on that video or anything like that, and I haven't gotten any new emails from either of them because let me tell you, we had a wacky email exchange. The videos are on my channel. I'm not really gonna rehash all of it because there truly is no point, but we had a rather wacky email exchange. And again, this is back in the time where I had the time and I had the patience. These days, I don't think I would have the time. Would I have the patience? Probably not either, to be completely honest. But anyways, I haven't gotten any new emails from them, but literally, like, maybe a day after I had tweeted about it, because I was like, oh man, all this stuff happening in these last couple of weeks truly is a blast from the past because, haven't heard a peep from Lily Jean or her mom. I haven't, at least, since like 2020, literally. And then, of course, there's the other thing with the company that shall not be named that sort of, it's not for whatever reason, came to a head as well last week or like 2 weeks ago. Like both of those, I put my initial videos out about them around the same time, and now they're like coming back. So it's like this weird cycle that's going on, and I was like, oh man, this sure is a blast from the past. And then like I don't even know how long it was after that I tweeted that, but literally so soon after I tweeted that, I get a little bit of views on my video about Lily Jean here and there, but I mean, since I've put it out and maybe in the months after, I haven't really gotten any comments on that video. But all of a sudden, after I after I tweet out the thing about, blast from the past, I get 2 comments. I get 2 it's from the same account, but like 2 pro Lily Jean comments out of nowhere. Like, girl, subtlety is lost on y'all. Like, which, I mean, we've been new, but come on, Miss Girl. Like, really? Honestly? Like, what? What are we doing? What are we doing in the year of our Lord 2024? Anyway, I thought all of that was really funny. So yeah, the Doublemint twins, they're still at it. To the surprise of me, honestly. I thought they were just gonna fade into the background after a while, especially after it's been this long. Like, oh my god. What? You know what it feels like? It feels like what if like what if after all this time Onision came back in like a brand new controversy? Like, that's what it would feel like, after all this time, like just randomly, Onision is back on YouTube, like, grooming some more people, It's like, that's what that would feel like, because that's how far away all that feels, And it's like, to have it come back again, it's like, what are we doing? Disrespectfully, what are you doing? Just like, how hard is it to just like lay low, yeah, anyway, ooh. We're way past an hour now. Well, no, we're not. We're not that past an hour, but anyway, that's all I had to say about that situation. Yeah, this has been the 27th episode of the Runnin My Mouth podcast. Thank you for allowing me to run my mouth. That's so nice of you. I have noticed that, there has been an official change of the URL, but I don't care. Nobody knows her as that. I want to call her by her name. Follow me on Twitter. Because if you're not following me on Twitter, you're only getting half the story. And I will be calling it that until I die. I don't know. Until the site eventually gets shut down for, I don't know, non-payment or something. But yeah, follow me on Twitter. I made some delicious crawfish cakes today, actually. I think last episode I ended off on like food, but I really like crab cakes, but crab is really expensive right now for some reason. And crawfish is not as expensive as crab right now for some reason. So I found a recipe for crawfish cakes. I made them in my air fryer and they are delicious. And the recipe that I used made a whole lot. A whole lot. I used two of those 12-ounce packs of already cooked crawfish tails that you can buy in the grocery store. And ooh, I really did it. I'm in my culinary bag. Yeah, I'm in my culinary bag, I fear. Anyways, I've got to go.